Yes, live once again. Here we go. Yeah, the Reentry Connect podcast. I'm your host, Keenan Hudson. Let know how we do it. We got some big special announcements. You know what I mean? With my good brother about the Reentry Job Fair. Yes, here in Philadelphia, Temple University. Want to introduce my brother right here, man. Powerful brother, Director of Communications and Strategic Partnerships of the Reentry Partnerships here in Philadelphia. My good brother, Desmond Mckinson. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we're going to jump right into this thing. And before I do, I'm going to give a shout out to GPS Transportation. You know what I mean? 215-774-9913. Yes, if you need any type of transportation, handicap, if you need some 15 passengers, 12 passengers, any type of passengers you need to get around, luxury transport, security transport, feel free to contact them at all times. But without further ado, and one more shout out to One Day at a Time, Old Dad, 215-226-7860. Mr. Mel Wells, we appreciate all the work you do. But going back to the show, we got to get back to it. We got my good brother here. He's going to share some good information about the Reentry a job fair that's coming up. Shout out to Dr. Robinson as well. My brother, thank you for being on here. Thank you for coming to share all this good information for individuals that's going to be job seeking, but I'm not even going to spoil it. Please go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Just tell the people where you're from.
Hey, I'm Keenan. I appreciate you, first of all, brother, for having me on and doing the work that you do on this platform. Right now I'm with the Office of Reentry Partnerships for the City of Philadelphia, Director of Communications and Partnerships. And then one thing that we're focused on doing is just making sure we're providing resources, as many resources as possible for the justice impacted. So whether that's you just came home, whether that's you've been home for years, a decade, whatever else, we want to be deliberate and intentional on connecting you with the resources we know you need to be successful. That could be something as simple as getting your IDs, job navigation, benefits navigation, and then things as significant as workforce development, as life skills development, and then events like this, like job fairs, reentry only job fair, which is only for people who are justice impacted, record clearing clinics and the like. So that's what ORP, the Office of Reentry and Partnerships, has been really for the past 2 years. I'm heavily involved in moving these resources, marshaling these resources, and just connecting folks and making sure people can clear their records up as they move forward with resetting and getting back on track.
Nice. So you're telling us that there's a reentry job fair, and the date is going to be the 30th of April this month. So we got exactly probably about like 9 days until this event. Okay,
Absolutely,
so now, if you can explain some of the things that's going to be there, because I know that they're saying that they're supposed to be providing like some type of discount on state IDs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain like some of the little initiatives and the little little benefits you can get from coming to this reentry actually job fair?
Mm-hmm. So let me start by saying, on the lead up to the job fair, so this week, the weeks before, we've been having, in partnership with Temple University, employment prep courses. On this Friday, we have a Know Your Rights seminar at ORP from 11 to 2. On the 24th, there is a resume building or how to navigate a job fair workshop with Temple. And then on the 30th itself, we're going to have a lot of folks in the building. We've reached out to UPS, SEPTA, different city departments are going to be there, street, water. And the idea is everybody in the building knows that everybody in the building has a record. And so the usual trope of, well, you're justice impacted and we can't hire you, is something that we expect not to be the case at an event like this. ORP participated in this event with Temple last year, had over 400 people attend, over 40 people hired on the spot. And last year we did have PennDOT in the building to provide free IDs, which was subsidized by one of our partners, PD Green, This year, we're going to have PennDOT again. They won't be able to print out the actual ID on the spot, but they'll be able to give you everything you need for that camera card, paperwork, so you can walk into a PennDOT, hand it in, and get an ID. They can do partial renewal IDs, and the paperwork they give you is as good as ID. So if you needed that paperwork, it's a legal document. If you needed that paperwork to go get other vital records, or if you needed that paperwork as proof of address, in any other capacity, you would use an ID. When you walk out the building that day, you would have that ability in your pocket, say for the actual ID, which you'd later have to get. So we just want to do everything we can to empower people, not only on the road to employment, but ultimately on the road to self-sustainability.
Okay, so Mr. Desmond, if you can share just a little bit about the approach when walking into this job fair, because most people, yes, like you said, a lot of people hire felonies, people with felonies, but there's some jobs that frown upon felonies, right? And the reason why I mention that because as from experience, there was an organization that I actually was employed to, right, as a seasonal hire. Once I was brought in as a regular hire, they was going to give me a promotion, right? And when they sent the paperwork to central office, the paperwork came back and said, hey, that guy has a felony. You have to let him go as a seasonal hire. So my thing is, are these jobs actually given some good promises? Like, are they going to keep their word, or are they giving false hope to people out here? Because a lot of people are thinking about this. They think a lot of this is bull crap. So can you explain and expound on that, please?
Well, that's why retention is important, right? So last year we had 40 people walk out the building with a job. And what you want to do is you want to engage with the employers after the fact to make sure that you've retained those people and make sure that, what you're offering that day is real. To the extent that you can do that and you have the capacity to do that, that is ideal. But you can also be really deliberate in how you approach the process from the start, right? And so our registration form with Temple University, which is a form that Temple's really produced, and it's a great form. It asks in detail what type of employment. First of all, do you have employment, right? It's not an event for style points. If you're coming, do you have actual openings? Yes. Okay. What are those openings? Full-time employment, seasonal employment, internships, paid internships, non-paid. And so you're putting all this in writing. This is something that you're filling out and submitting to the university, before you come in. And so the expectation is that, you're not going to waste our time and you're not going to waste yours. And so what we know is that at least the people who are coming to the event, the employers who are coming to the event, have openings. They have availabilities. There have been employers that wanted to participate and told me frankly, after reviewing, the intake, hey, we don't have openings right now. We can come and, have people sign up, but we don't have any actual opportunities right now. We could participate at a later date to make sure that everybody in the building is talking to someone who actually has openings right now. So that's what we've done.
Gotcha. So it's a guarantee that majority of these employers do take people with felonies, correct? Individuals that return to society. That's a big, because a lot of people like that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's a guarantee they will take people with felonies. This is what I'll say. They know that everybody in the building has a record. Gotcha. They know that everybody in the building has a record. And they know that it's not all shoplifters. Right? They know that the people aren't all shoplifters. Our job is to make sure that the folks in the building know what their rights are empowered, and our jobs are to make sure the employers aren't wasting people's time. And so the prep events leading up to that, like the Know Your Rights seminar that we had in March and the Know Your Rights seminar we're having on Friday, specifically also lets participants know how to pull your record, how to read your record. Because there's times when you may have a record, but you don't even really know what's on it. Like, you got convicted of one thing and you think that's all there is, but there might be 9 things. The 8 charges you never got convicted of, that stay on your record, and the one thing you actually, did time for. And so knowing how to read your record, knowing how to pull your record, knowing how to engage our partners in clearing your record, whether it's through sealing or expungement or the pardons process, all of which we're continuously having this month, which is National Second Chance Month, but that we always have, is empowering you, educating you, and engaging our employers to make sure that they're giving a fair opportunity and a fair chance at hiring.
Gotcha. And we really appreciate you even expounding on that, man, because it brings a lot of light to individuals. Not saying that we want to discourage anybody from coming. No, still come, still engage with the employers, still come and let them know, how good of a worker. Because what I've realized out of my experience, like I said, from coming home, being home almost 9 years now, that when I did go before employers and things like that, it's always up to the hiring manager. I mean, some establishments may say, well, if your crime is to extent, blah, 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 you can't get hired, things like that. Things that they just can't tell you. Some people told me, look, we don't ever got to call you back once you say that you have a felony. So it's just really profound.
And that's why, and let me say real quick, that's why the Know Your Rights seminar is so critical, because it does a few things. Number one, it educates you on what an employer may or may not be able to say during the first time you meet with them. That's number one, because Philadelphia is a bandbox city, right? That's number one. So they're not to ask you about your record the first time they meet with you. But more importantly, you don't have to divulge that. That's another thing. People come into this and they feel like, hey, I want to be transparent. I want to be all this other stuff. And you give up your power because you don't know. And no one's going to, tell you that you don't know. They're just going to probably take advantage of you if you allow yourself to be taken advantage of, which is why, and I apologize for that, but which is why our job is to educate and empower to the best of our ability to ensure that folks who are re-entering have an opportunity at success.
So tell us, how long has Temple been given this initiative of having a re-entry job fair? Because you never hear of job fairs anywhere, like for re-entrants. Most times they tell you to just go out, go to Career Link and try to figure it out. But here it is, y'all actually dissected and selectively picked certain places of employment for individuals. So how long has this been going on?
So this is new. So I mean, it's only the second year. This is something that Temple did in partnership with ORP and Senator Street's office last year. ORP had a lesser role last year. This is something that ORP now has a primary and a central role this year in being the primary sponsor of this, to make sure that it's something we continue to have. Because like you said, everybody everywhere has job fairs. I think there's a job fair the same day. However, you rarely see a job fair that's primarily focused on people who are justice impacted. The majority of the people in the room have records. It's very often you have a job fair and, people with records are told, hey, put your resume in, roll the dice and see what happens. We are being intentional, we're being focused, and we're being deliberate in making sure that these resources are focused on the people who are those who are some of the greatest need. And not only the greatest need, but also face some of the greatest barriers. There's a need for everyone for sure, but in terms of upward mobility and the barriers that exist, they are most pronounced for people who are justice impacted, who are stigmatized continuously. And so we are being, intentional in doing what we can to break those down. Employers say, hey, every now and then we get people to records and the process is the process, where we're like, okay, well, everybody in the room has a record. What opportunities do you have that they can take advantage of?
Wow. Powerful. And shout out to Mr. Marty Staten right here. He said, great conversation. This much needed program. Very much appreciated. We appreciate you, Mr. Marty. And I have another question for you there. I know that you mentioned something earlier about individuals that do have a record. Now, you have some people, like you said, they may have had charges stacked against them in the past. However, we know that with some of, when you're dealing with like litigation, even though these charges may have not stuck with you, you still have to get them erased from your record. So now, do you have any type of resources that will be there? Not just about like they may say that, hey, this is a clinic for record expungement and things like that. But do you have specific resources that will help you to get things off of your record that's not supposed to be there, such as your fingerprints that shouldn't be in the system for certain situations and things to that nature? Are you going to have anything specifying towards that?
I mean, so I believe we've reached out to Pulse to see if they can participate in this event. I do know if Pulse is able to participate in the event or CLS, it'll likely be intake. As far as the actual record clearing process, that's really usually an internal process that happens, whether it's automated via Clean Slate or whether it's with Pulse and CLS who submit petitions to the court on their client's behalf. But in terms of the education process, in terms of knowing how to read your record, in terms of knowing all the options available to you in that process, it is Pulse who will be heading the Know Your Rights seminar on Friday, specifically for this event, prepping for this event. So Pulse will be involved at least on Friday in a more in-depth process in educating you about the process, teaching you how to read your record, teaching you how to pull your record, and letting you know all the options available to you in Pennsylvania in terms of sealing your record and eventually expunging your record.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. And I know that PULSE is an acronym. Do you know the actual clear of the acronym?
Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity.
Gotcha. So for those who didn't know, that's the actual term for PULSE. So if there's anything you can encourage individuals that's watching this video right now, whether they're in a halfway house that will be there, because I know a lot of different recovery houses, halfway houses, they're all being informed about this actual job fair. So we're going to have a lot of individuals, because I was there last year with the Reentry Connect podcast.
Yes, you were.
Turn out.
We're trying to bring it back, man.
We try and get it. Yeah, we got to see if we can make it happen this year. You know what I mean? So if you can encourage these individuals right now, what type of words would you encourage them with?
What I would say to individuals who are listening, especially for those who may be currently incarcerated, is this, man. I know that when you come home, often you feel like it's easy to get let down. Sometimes you feel like folks might say things and promise things that they don't deliver on. But what I can tell you about the Office of Reentry Partnerships is that the office is for you. Literally, the office exists for your benefit. That's why the office is there. Literally to help you be successful on your journey, on your path, whether you've been home for 20 or whether you've been home for 2 days. And to that end, we are locked in and focused on providing a suite of services, comprehensive services for you, whether they are in the building or whether we are being strategic with our partners to make sure that you have whatever it is you need. It's as basic as IDs. It's as basic as benefits navigation and job navigation. And it's as in-depth as, workforce development and everything else you know that you need in order to be successful. So, visit us on 1425 Arch Street. Come to one of the neighborhood resource centers, which is in your community, the first one at least in North Philadelphia, 2221 North Venango Street. So whether it is where you live or whether it is in Center City, ORP, the Office of Reentry Partnerships, is here to help you reset and be your partner in reentry.
We really appreciate that. And we're looking at on here on the screen. This is the actual flyer in which the actual job fair is going to exist, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said they're at Temple University, correct?
Yeah, it's going to be at Temple, the Student Activity Center, which is room 200, April the 30th, which is a Wednesday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You already know how we do it here on the Reentry Connect podcast. Yes, we got my good brother here, man, all day, man. We appreciate you coming on here, sharing what you do. Right here is your title once again. You know what I mean? Just in case people doesn't know. you know, who you are. We really appreciate you, Mr. Desmond, for coming on here and coming and sharing everything, and you know what I mean, just letting the people know, man, because
Yes,
we
sir.
need this. We need this a lot more,
Yeah,
man.
thank you, man.
It's like usually people don't give us this type of impact. They don't fill us in with nothing. They just, you know, leave us in blank. But here it is. You felt the same. But without further ado, y'all, we got to get ready to go, to the next segment here on the Reentry Connect podcast. I'm your host, Keenan Hudson, here with the Reentry Job Fair that's coming up next week on the 30th. Y'all got to be there. Spread the word. And without further ado, Mr. Desmond, you take care. You have a good day. And we thank you for coming and sharing, man. But until next time, everybody have a good day. Peace.